welcome to a new Seven Princes for the month of October 2019. Tonight on the panel, I've got Luciano Gonzales, Bible Belt Atheist, Scientist Mel, and Triateyal. I can't talk right now, but hopefully this loosens my tongue a little bit. But yeah, how's everybody doing tonight?
Doing good. Yeah.
Hibernation is soon.
I'm eating like I'm about to hibernate because it's getting close to like winter time, and I think I'm a bear for some reason. I'm like,
I know I'm a
all
bear.
the things, man.
I sleep through December and then wake up in January.
I would like to do that.
I don't think I'll have the option this year, but that's usually what I do.
Hell. Yeah, so as you all know, this is a monthly show where each of my panelists and myself talk about a particular topic. So who wants to go first? Or should the
Encyclopedia go?
Oh, it's always me, guys. Okay.
Do you not want to go first? I'll take that spot.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can go first. That way, when I start talking, I can like be all in.
All right, fair enough. So I don't have any like news articles or anything like that, but I kind of wanted to talk about vaccines because it's also flu season, as we all know. And those of you who pay attention to my Twitter know I got the flu vaccine 2 days ago. I don't know. Yeah, 2 days ago sounds about right. And posted about it, saying to get your flu shots because not everybody fucking can. And had some anti-vax fuck hop onto the discussion, and needless to say, I blocked them. So honestly, this is probably something Mel will know considerably more about. But,
Vaccines?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a little bit about that. But yeah, I will chime in whenever you want me to. So
Yeah. All the bullshit that you hear about vaccines is pretty much not true. You know, it causes autism, bullshit. The doctor who claimed that, one, lost his medical license, and two, took it back saying, yes, I falsified the study. So, and he still can't practice medicine because
Andrew Wakefield, thank you, Daily Mail. It's your fault.
bastards. You know, any concerns about mercury in the vaccine? I mean, the amount of mercury that goes into a vaccine, and I'm sure Mel will back me up here, is so minuscule, it just passes through your body. You won't even know it's there. Unlike if you eat too much tuna, you get more mercury from a single can of tuna than you do a vaccine. So fuck off with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And did I say it doesn't cause autism?
Yeah, it doesn't. And don't give your children bleach water, please, to cure their autism. That's another thing. So don't do that either. That's bad.
People. I don't understand people. Honestly, in my honest opinion, I am a little bit of a misanthrope. People can fuck off. You know, especially the stupid ones. But yeah, no, vaccines are good for you. Diseases like polio have been wiped out because of them. But I mean, they're kind of making a resurgence now because dumb motherfuckers don't want to vaccinate their fucking crotch goblins. Go to your doctor and get the damn vaccine, whatever vaccine it is you need, if you're able to. Now, there are some people who medically can't.
That sounds like a Halloween costume, unvaccinated crotch goblins.
Wait, how would they look different from vaccinated ones? Would they be covered in like measles?
They can be coupled, you can make it very distasteful and have them be walking coffins. Walking small coffin.
Accurate, not distasteful. But, I mean, there are people out there who, for whatever reason, usually because they're immunocompromised, can't get a vaccination. So they need that herd immunity around them. And what percentage does herd immunity take place, Mel? Something like 80% of the population?
It's around there. It's around there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit higher, but yeah, around there, yeah.
Yeah. So that herd immunity is necessary to protect the people that can't get vaccinated. So they have a much lower chance of catching whatever disease by all rights should not exist to this day, because they've been wiped out. But yeah. What are everyone else's thoughts on vaccines now that I've gotten my little rant out of the way?
They're good. But I lived in Honduras, and this is going to sound really weird until I explain why this is relevant. In Honduras, there's a really famous journalist who is actually a really good journalist. Unfortunately, he's also almost comically anti-vax. Like, he is one of the most anti-vax people I have ever seen. He ran a Honduran news website that published news in English for a long time before I started publishing news in English. Because for those of you who don't know, one of the first things I got known online for was the journalism that I did in Central America that talked about things like the water crisis in places like Honduras. It talked about Zika. It talked about government corruption. I did that for years before I even started my current YouTube channel. Even before I was an atheist, I was doing that. And this guy did so much groundbreaking research on government corruption in Honduras. He covered elections, but in his free time, he was like, yeah, guys, vaccines are bad. And if if you're forced to get vaccines, then your human rights are being violated because, you don't have a human right to live.
I suppose it's your human right to die of a preventable disease as well. But do you push that on your children?
Now, yeah, I was about to say, you're now pushing that on other people. Mm-hmm. It would be one thing if it didn't affect anybody else and it just affected you. Because I'm big on you have the ability to do with your body what you want with it, but the moment you start affecting other people with it, that's where that line is.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a little bit harder to define where that line exactly is in a lot of situations, but I'm pretty sure vaccines is not one of the ones where there's any weirdness or grayness in between. It's if you can get your vaccines, get them, you assholes.
Yeah. I agree with y'all. I just think it's really sad. This guy frustrates me so much because he had an illustrious career, not just in journalism in Honduras, but he also worked for space companies. He has a degree in history. He's it's just the worst.
Well, Ben Carson was a medical doctor, so that's all I can say about that.
I mean, I know, but it's just man, if people in this country know anything about Honduras, they probably know about it because of him. But also in his free time, he's hey, don't vaccinate your kids. Just let them die of smallpox.
Well, it's kind of one of those things where it's you could do so much good, and here you are propagating a misconception that can get people hurt. Thanks.
Killed.
We really appreciate
can get people
it.
Killed.
Yeah, killed, yeah. But I mean, it's just I look at certain people on, in social media, and I know that they got their doctorate and they are doctors, and then they say something really crappy. It's just really, why? Why? You could do so much with what you're doing. Why are you doing this?
It's the perfect example of that idea that you can be really smart in so many areas, but then there's that one area where you're really stupid, just almost comically unintelligent.
I mean, I know a lot of the places where I am magnificently dumb. This isn't one of those things. You know, I don't know, like, what exactly goes into vaccines and how they have to be mixed for them to be safe, but they're fucking safe. There's rigorous testing that goes behind each batch, so
Yeah.
fuck off with that noise if you want to say they cause autism. They fucking don't. Autism spectrum disorder is a fucking genetic disease. You will get it from your mom or dad, not a fucking vaccine that has nothing.
And even if you did, like, even if vaccines did cause autism, like, we could give these not smart people, I don't want to be ableist, we could give these not smart people like the benefit of the doubt and be like, fine, they do cause autism. Would you rather have autism or smallpox?
Yeah.
I feel like it's like a really clear-cut choice, but
Yeah.
apparently for them it's not.
I'd much rather be somewhere on the literally anywhere on the autism spectrum than have to live out the rest of my life in an iron lung. That's a much better choice.
Yeah. I'm kind of tired of people treating people on the spectrum as having some kind of disability. They just most people who are on the spectrum, what they call high functioning, even then they just see the world slightly different than other people, and that's inherently useful.
Yeah.
Some of the most brilliant minds we have are on the spectrum because of the fact they're able to see patterns and see certain things that us normies can't freaking see. It makes them amazing and exciting. And that's awesome. So just like, I'm kind of tired of people treating others on the spectrum like it's some kind of disability. Well, I mean, you know, you have trade ups in everything, but it doesn't really mean that there's something wrong with them, you know?
People get so involved in not wanting to be even slightly inconvenienced by another human being that a lot of times, even if something's not necessarily a disability by any stretch of the imagination, it's like, oh, you're inconveniencing me, go away. And they care more about being inconvenienced than actually like taking care of the health of that person, either mentally or physically, a lot of times.
Yeah. Joke's on them, though, because if they don't vaccinate, they're going to get the disease too, and it's pretty big inconvenience.
I just wish I wasn't involved in this, because eventually, I mean, they'll get sick too, but so will the rest of us. Like, no, we don't want this.
Oh, but I mean, like, okay, let's talk about some side effects of vaccines. Sure, some people can be allergic. Doctors can note that and give them a different vaccine that will work for them. But, you know, I got a vaccine a couple of days ago. You know, the worst side effect I had? My arm was a little sore.
Yeah. And so now you might not get the flu. I've had the flu.
I mean, I almost definitely will not get the version of the flu that I was immunized against.
Yes.
You know, but it'll almost definitely also give my body more ability to fight any other strain of flu, too. You know, so go to your doctor if you are not, you know, otherwise immunocompromised and incapable of getting a vaccine. Find out what vaccines you're due for and get them.
Also, if you don't have a doctor, a lot of places like CVS and Walgreens actually have like a week where you can walk in and get it and not pay. Because I realize that is a huge problem. There's
your health department does that as well. You can call your local health department and see. Most of the time, some of the standard vaccines are free. The ones that tend to be costly are the ones that are not as common. So if you're like a medical professional, you have to get like hepatitis B and all kinds of other vaccines that standard population doesn't normally get. That tends to cost. But just the run-of-the-mill regular booster type of vaccinations tend to be free. And the Bill Gates Foundation is responsible for that. Your kids can get vaccinated for free at the health department because they give them money to do that. Thank you, Bill Gates.
I like that. Yeah, I mean, it's funny too, because, like, okay, so I go to the VA, Veterans Affairs, for pretty much all my medical shit because, yeah, I'm a partially disabled veteran, and the VA hooks me up. But I'm there for a totally unrelated appointment, and one of the doctors that I'm talking to is just like, "Have you had a flu vaccine yet this year?" No. Would you like one? Are you offering? Yes. Then that's your answer.
I like the idea that they would ask without offering.
It's funny, are you offering a flu vaccine? Because if you are, I'll take it.
I need to get my flu vaccine. I don't want the flu again. It's terrible.
No, I need to too soon. I'm probably going to get it like this weekend or early next week.
I mentioned trying to find a topic earlier, and somebody mentioned, hey, go through Trump's tweets. I'm like, I could also talk about stomach viruses, about which end you don't know which end to put on the toilet. That's just as pleasant. That's the flu, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know which end to put on the toilet. Do I
honestly,
sit and
just put one end on the toilet and another end over a bucket. You'll be good.
Fountains out of both ends.
Yeah. The only way you get it, which end goes over a bucket.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to talk about that time. Boy, that was
I didn't know. Some people get that feverish during the flu. Poor babies.
And of course, because it's me, obviously we're talking about poo now. So
and the running kind.
Well, if anybody ever has constipation, the best way to get rid of it is to eat Crystal's hamburgers.
Gut grenades. That's what we call gut grenades. Get you a pack. Get you a pack.
I don't even know if we have a Crystal's near me anymore. Nobody goes there.
We had a Crystal's in Greensboro. I'm pretty sure we still do. I just don't think it's at the same place it was when I lived here the first time.
I've never heard of the place you all are talking about.
It's like White
Oh my
Castle.
god,
It's like White Castle.
All I've got is White Castle, but either way, you just go to one of those places, it'll shoot right through you.
Get you some chili cheese.
You won't last
fries
10 minutes.
along with it. You really want to do the job good. Get you a bag of 20 and some chili cheese fries and just wait. Don't go anywhere for the next 6 hours.
Hell. Intestinal hell right there. That's what that is.
Oh, that, or if you really want, just get you a bottle of magnesium citrate, drink that down, and don't go anywhere for like the entire day. Oh, goodness. Google, guys. Google magnesium citrate. There's a story. There's something called the poop report. And it's nothing but stories of people who drank that.
I'm looking it up right now.
As someone with like a moderately sensitive stomach, like I am in fact in hell right now.
It's magnesium citrate. You get it at Walgreens. It's horrible. It tastes like a salty lemony thing because magnesium citrate is a salt, and so it's this salty thing. And you can get lemon flavored or cherry. God, it just tastes so bad. But if you want to clean out your system, drink the whole thing, but be certain to drink a lot of water afterwards.
One of those things where you just want to
this sounds like it would just kill someone. Just they would have like that Elvis death where like you die like on the toilet.
I lost 5 pounds one day just doing that.
Oh shit! I need to do that.
Hey, no. I agree with Silver's assessment of this. Oh no.
It's just for real. If you want to have an experience, make certain you're not going anywhere that entire day. And be prepared to take a shower.
I don't know if that's good advice for most Americans because, like, for a lot of us, our bathroom, our toilets, and our showers are in the same room.
Well,
I got a half I got a half bath downstairs and a full bath upstairs, so I'll do that.
Oh, okay.
We have one bathroom. We're kind of, yeah. If I did that, I would die a horrible death. And not by the experience, by my family would be like, the fuck?
Have you seen A Million Ways to Die in the West? Anybody seen that? Okay.
I have seen it.
Okay, you know the scene with Neil Patrick Harris at the gun shootout where he's using hats? That's magnesium citrate. So now you guys have homework. Look at the wonderful Seth MacFarlane movie, A Million Ways to Die in the West. That's where I feel like I live. There, people die at the fair. You'll totally get it after you watch it. But
I
yes.
love Neil Patrick Harris. He is fantastic. Like, no, seriously. Okay, so he is the best actor at playing a womanizer while at the same time being homosexual.
Yeah.
I never would have known he was gay watching him play Barney on How I Met Your Mother or any of the Harold and Kumar movies. Never would have known it. He is far and away the best womanizing actor. He's best at playing a womanizer, and he's not interested in women.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, and it amuses me. He is
Unlike
one of the
John
great
Barrowman, who like plays bi really, really well and can hit
Doctor
on
Who.
yes, and hit on everybody. And it's just like he is a flaming flamer.
Captain
He is
Jack.
gay, but he can hit on everybody and make you feel pretty. It doesn't matter. He's just like, hello.
He is pretty.
Don't start. All he said was hello. That's all. Name that episode.
Oh my goodness.
I literally quoted an episode just there. So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, that's what I got for vaccines. That took up a good 15 minutes or so.
This is a beautiful way to spend the first third of our new show. I guess I'll go next. So I'm going to be talking about the impeachment inquiry, which got like a really big boost not even 3 hours ago. So 3 hours ago, there was a decision on a case that was appearing in front of a federal judge, and the decision that was made gives two critical boosts to efforts to impeach the president. The first one is that it says that the efforts that the Democrats have been taking are perfectly valid. There is nothing untoward about them, which is a Republican talking point. Like the idea that the way the Democrats have been approaching impeachment is somehow shady has been a major talking point on all conservative networks. And I know because I hate myself and I listen to conservative talk radio and I listen to Fox News, and it was all they could talk about this entire week. I hated it so much. I must have heard maybe 5 hours of various talking heads just being like, hey, the Democrats are being real shady when they just objectively weren't. But the actual real big success that came from this court case, and I'll be putting in like news articles in a second when I'm done with my little explainer, is that Chief Judge Beryl Howell of the U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C., is agreeing with the decision to give the courts, or to give the Democrats, access to grand jury material that is normally kept secret, and material that resulted from the Mueller report. So basically, not only is Judge Beryl Howell saying that the Democrats are doing things in a normal, not shady way, but also the judge is saying that there is a necessary component of investigation that needs to be done so that way the impeachment effort can proceed regularly and can proceed in a way that's seen as legitimate by the actual institutions in the country. And part of the reason for that decision is the hostility that Donald Trump and the Republicans have shown to the Democrats in charge of the impeachment inquiry so far, which really means that Donald Trump as he often does, has shot himself in the foot by being so aggressive and vicious towards Democrats who are trying to impeach him, which is really cool.
Bogus Emoluments Clause.
Also, I'm going to put in some links. Just put one up, and I'm going to put up another. I shared one of them with the you know, the lords and ladies of hell earlier, so that way we could all look at them together. But I only shared it a few minutes before we started, so.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm really hoping my Trump impersonations aren't that good because I don't want to be anything like that.
If it makes you feel any better, they're not.
I wonder how many people are going to dress up like him for Halloween.
Too many.
Oh, God.
Are they going to wear like
Thank
prison
God.
gear? Prison gear Trump? Prison gear Trump might be okay.
I mean, okay, prison gear Trump I wouldn't mind, but I have a feeling that not that many people, like, the people who would dress up as Trump for Halloween are not the sort of people who would be like, yeah, he should go to jail.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
I honestly think he should be impeached, removed, criminally charged,
We
and
need to get rid of
never
Pence, too.
seen.
Pence is worse.
I feel like Pence is worse, but I mean, like, Donald Trump, in terms of, like, D&D alignments, is chaotic evil, and Mike Pence is lawful evil. And both of them are bad. They're just bad in very different ways.
Well, I'm like I was saying, I think Trump needs to be impeached, removed, criminally charged, and never see another day of life as a free man.
Gosh. I think he's probably going to get away with it, but he might
he is.
He might get removed.
People in power always do.
I don't think he's going to get reelected, but I think it's going to be really close. I don't think that it's going to be an easy race, no matter who wins. Even if the best person wins, whether for you that's, I don't know, Yang, just to throw out a joke candidate.
Yang needs to seriously change his mind on Medicare for all and damn, what's the word called? Shit, I can't think of it. When the government gives you money to go to private school, vouchers.
Yeah,
vouchers.
Keep your mind on those, and
you
might have a chance of me voting for him.
I'll vote for him if he is the nominee, but I'll do so very sadly. I vote for, like, if Democrats elected a dead cat. If a dead cat finds a way to win the nomination and it's Donald Trump, I would vote for the dead cat. I wouldn't be happy about it, but
one of the things that has kind of scared me is, like, I notice a lot of the richer factions of Christianity are very much like focusing in on Trump. And a lot of these factions are also teaching the world is doomed type stuff. Like, they believe in climate change, but they think that it's God's will and therefore we can do nothing about it.
No, so we should just keep fucking the planet. Great plan.
Yeah, because Christ will save us. He will. He's coming. He's right around the corner. I'm like, please don't. Let's get rid of. Let's not reelect Trump and put somebody in who's not, like throwing money around with the people who are teaching that the earth is doomed no matter what. Appreciate.
I mean, honestly, I
know that's not the only problem, but
I feel kind of sorry for Jesus, if I'm being totally honest, because in 2,000 years, the guy's only come once. That can't be easy.
I mean, I don't know, fam. I'm Ace, and to be fair, like, I'm not gonna say anything else, but I feel like people can just like fill in the blanks there. But like, I'm just gonna say a life without sex isn't really the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not
the worst thing in the world. But after,
he didn't say that it was all that hard for him in the Bible. I don't remember him saying, "Geez, I wish it were easier to get a girl."
There are actually there are a couple of biblical scholars who believe that he married Mary Magdalene, but that's like a pretty edgy take. That's not like
The Mormons have that take.
Yeah,
you know,
there are a couple of like odder factions of Christianity that generally have that take, and it's worth noting that it would have been weirder for him to be like 30-something years old as a Jewish man at that time and not be married. But like, I feel like that's a pretty big detail, so I'm inclined to think that he probably didn't get married. I feel like that would have been worth mentioning.
I don't know. I mean, you know, there's
the
different
Bible never
Gnostic
mentioned
texts.
Jesus pooping, so clearly Jesus never pooped.
Well, you know, there are different Gnostic texts that kind of talk about how he had a family and kids. And the entire film Dogma is based on some of those ideas that the woman, you know, that was going to try to, you know, stop the angels from going into the Catholic Church was a descendant of Jesus. So, I mean, so there's lots of different stuff that kind of references that. So it may not be too far-fetched that he had kids.
I mean, I feel like I'm just pointing out the reality that having kids does not require being married.
That's true. That's true.
I'm inclined to agree with you as like a human being and as a historian that he probably had kids. But I mean, like, that doesn't mean he was married.
We need to ask Digi Hammurabi and see what they think.
I agree. That's a good question to ask them. Yeah.
Personally, I love the movie Dogma just because of the opening when the Catholic Church is like, we're putting a new, friendlier face on the church. So instead of having a big cross or crucifix with this bleeding, dying guy on it, we're going to have the Buddy Christ. Finger guns and everything.
Oh my God. I love Dogma.
I love this conversation as an ex-Mormon because basically Mormon doctrine says that in order to become like God, you have to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, Jesus became God. So, of course, it follows that Mormons teach, well, yeah, he got married. They don't like to admit it because it's just like, that's so off the beaten path and they want to look like other Christians. But it's just like, if you put two and two together, it's like, if he's not married yet, he would have to be married at some point before we do the whole Judgment Day, all of that stuff. So,
to be fair, it's been 2,000 something years. I mean, in heaven, all I'm saying is he's had a pretty good chance.
Yet.
That's
Heaven
true.
does not exist yet.
That's
in
true.
Mormonism.
And that's actually the way that it is in most forms of Christianity. If you are like actually following the Bible, at the very least, heaven as like a place where humans live doesn't exist. It doesn't come into existence until like right before the end times.
See, something interesting. I'm not totally sure if this is Catholic doctrine, but this is what I was taught when I was Catholic. Because the Catholic Church does a really shoddy job of teaching any of its doctrine. But so when you die, the heaven's gates are already open. Jesus did that shit when he was put up on a tree. But yeah, so it won't be as good until Jesus comes again, which was supposed to have happened within the first generation after his alleged death. But, you know, once our souls are reunited with our bodies, heaven will somehow be better. So perfect will be perfecter.
I could talk about the gaping holes that you have that Jesus can fill. I still have that book.
I mean, technically everyone has gaping holes that can be filled.
There are people, Mary Garrison, How to Conduct Spiritual Warfare. How to fill your gaping holes with the love of Jesus. I mean, she talks about that. She's well learned on how to conduct spiritual warfare, guys. And you can buy her books on Amazon. I'm just saying.
Mel,
you're taking this back to the graduation stream.
Mel, you are reminding me of the numerous churches that could have a teenager proofread everything they put on their marquees. I don't know why, but that's the thought that's going.
Oh goodness! One of my personal Twitters before I locked them, I had posted one of Joel Osteen's own tweets that says, "Never take anything Satan crams down your throat. Jesus comes first." And then I said, "No sloppy seconds for Jesus," and that warranted an instant block. Joel Osteen. Just the one tweet. I tweeted him exactly one time with his own words, and he got mad.
There's a bot. I think it replaces every time Joel Osteen says the word Jesus with like the word dong or something. It's I'll have to see if I can find it because it is hilarious. And one, it brings up a really funny point that like Joel Osteen, for someone who acts very un-Jesus-y, sure talks about Jesus just a whole lot.
I think it changes God with dong or something.
Yeah, it's something like that. I can't remember it exactly off the top of my head. I'll actually see if I can find it.
Oh, God.
Right. So this is the point where I kind of, bring things back to where they're supposed to be, because Treya said something in the chat, and now she made me feel bad. So
no, actually, no, I wasn't trying to make you feel bad. I was just like, we are so random tonight.
I mean, I'm living for this energy.
It's great. I love it. I mean, from now on, let's do the Joel Osteen bot thing. Anytime we want to say Jesus, dong instead. So who's going to talk about a topic next? Praise dong.
I can be next.
Okay.
All right, so this one's kind of been going on for a while, but I kind of wanted to put all of the information kind of together before I said anything, because it's going to be an ongoing thing. Pacific Gas and Electric. A lot of people know that last month, either this month, late last month or early this month, they did a 72-hour blackout. And they gave people in California over a really large area 10 hours to prepare for a 3-day blackout. They knew this blackout was going to be coming. They knew they were going to have to. And instead of communicating it properly, they basically said, hi, in 10 hours, no power. And you don't have any time to travel to a place that does. If you can, we haven't warned people who have medical devices that are dependent on electricity. We haven't warned the hospitals. Just basically 10 hours, just announced it. And I started to look into it, and I actually found out earlier this year in January, they declared bankruptcy. Also, earlier this year, a fire was started by wiring that needed repairs that they knew about, but instead of doing the repairs, they paid $5 billion to stockholders. And now they're doing another blackout in the next couple of days. It won't be nearly as long, but they're giving people more time, but they're now saying that it's going to take 10 years to do upgrades, and they're going to continue to have blackouts during this 10 years. So, and the thing is that there are solutions that they're coming up with. One of them is what they call, it was called like microgrids. And a lot of cities in California are basically saying, hey, this is not cool. We can't do this over the next 10 years. Why don't you allow for cities to build these projects? It will still take a while, but it won't take 10 years. Let's do it this way. And PG&E is basically going, no. The CEO who made this grand decision, I do believe they got fined, but that's not enough.
It's not going to harm the CEO.
No, it's not going to harm the sea.
It's not going to hurt them.
No.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt them at all. I really think that level of negligence, especially because it caused an actual fire, needs to basically be jail time, as far as I'm concerned.
But remember,
input
the system we operate under loves you and cares about you and will fulfill all of your needs, which is exactly why you're starving or medically bankrupt or otherwise bankrupt.
Look out, you're not sounding appropriately capitalistic right now.
Oh no, Trump would call me a traitor. How terrible.
Fuck Trump.
Like, yeah, and it's really frustrating me because basically millions of people are affected every time that they do these blackouts. In one way or another, even if you're not in a blackout zone, you know, it has a tendency to kind of mess with the state's economy as well, because, you know, the economy is basically putting in billions of dollars to fix this problem that the CEO should have used the money to pay for instead of paying stockholders. So it's really bad out there.
Yeah. I heard about this PG&E blackout a little bit before I saw it trending on Twitter. Someone I follow was absolutely railing PG&E for giving basically no notice for
10 hours is not notice. There's no way anybody can prepare for a 3-day blackout properly with 10 hours notice.
Yeah. You know, I mean, there's this show I watch every few years called The West Wing. You know, and
that transition.
No, it'll make sense as soon as I bring it back. But there's a quote from that show. This was back when the country of Iraq still had security forces to work with, or the Royal Guard or whatever the fuck they were actually called. Yeah, it's like the Royal Guard can't find their car keys in 48 hours. You know? So you need to actually give people notice. Even 48 hours wouldn't be enough notice for most people, I would assume, who are going to be negatively affected by this blackout. You know?
And there are people who are not going to be able to go anywhere. You need to be able to provide for people who are stuck. Because there are people who are dependent on oxygen masks. There are people who have powered up wheelchairs. There are people who have CPAPs, and if they try to sleep, they can cause brain damage or kill themselves.
Sleep apnea.
That's not me, but I have family members. I have family members who are dependent on electricity, and if the electricity was gone consistently, it would be extremely bad for them.
That sucks.
And it's like they're like, oh, this is going to be a regular thing for the next 10 years while we fix it. It's like that's not a solution. That's not a solution. You need to be working with, because a lot of the cities are jumping in, going, we can help. We'll build the shit and then connect you to it. And PG&E is like, nah, we're going to do it our ways.
It's not their property. They don't want to use it. I'm assuming.
10 years. 10 years is not a fix. It's a fuck over.
Yeah. But remember, kids, the unseen hand of the free market will take care of everyone.
It sure sounds like we could use some more socialism.
Or some more hands.
I said the words, guys. Also, we could always use more hands.
I could always use more hands, but I'll not say why.
I have a feeling we're on different wavelengths.
More
we
hands.
are.
But if they're idle, it's the devil's workshop.
I'm fine with that. Come on in, Satan.
Well, I'm the closest one to you, so
that's true.
I mean, he's right next to you.
I mean, in all honesty, we're in the same state. We're not even actually that far from each other.
I'm Luciano right now. Can you tell me?
If you're asking Satan to come next
Thanks.
to you.
Wait. Thanks.
I do it.
I just filled my gas tank up like 6 hours ago, so I should be good to make a trip over there.
Is that a euphemism?
It's definitely a thing.
I just filled up my gas tank and I'm ready.
No, I was saying about like how Luciano and I are both in the same state.
Yeah,
so.
I know.
Yeah.
I was being dumb. Oh, goodness.
I think we left impeachment inquiries behind a while ago. So who's next?
I guess I'll go. All right. So, unless you've been living under a rock for the past couple of months, you've more than likely heard about the stuff going on with the vaping bans and e-cigarette bans. Turns out there's a glimmer of hope in the vaping community, though, because just recently there was a Michigan judge that ended up blocking the state's flavored e-cigarette ban. And I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this into the chat right quick. So as you can tell, this is coming from CBS News. Basically, the governor of Michigan, Governor Gretchen Whitmer, basically is, obviously anti-vaping and had, banned the sale of flavored e-cigarettes or flavored e-juice. And she ended up getting 2 different lawsuits, if I remember correctly, from 2 different companies. And the judge, the article I'm on doesn't give the judge's name right off. But the judge ended up, saying, no, you can't, this ban is not right. And the governor is obviously not too happy about it, and she's going to be appealing to the Supreme Court very soon. A couple other things to add on to that is that for the longest time, it's been known that the vaping, people getting sick and dying from vaping, is not really due to the vaping. It's due to the regulated shops vape juice. It's from black market cartridges containing THC that is causing all of this sickness and illness and deaths. Another big one, though, is also because the tobacco or the vaping is not considered a tobacco product, and the states have a agreement with the tobacco industry that whatever amount of money is made by the tobacco industry in that state, a part of the state, and I believe also the federal government, gets a portion of that money. And since cigarettes are going down in popularity and vaping is going up, they're trying to, blame vaping on all these deaths so that they can get people hooked back on cigarettes and make more money. There is also, and I'm going to be going to this as well, there's a vape rally up in Washington, D.C. happening November 9th between 12 p.m. noon and 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm going to be going to that. I literally just found out about it like last night, and I already made plans to go. So, yeah, this, you've seen me vaping myself. I do it. A lot of people will do it because they want to try and get off of traditional combustible cigarettes, which I did the math, statistical math, in a video that I did talking about this on my channel. And at the time, there was only 6 deaths. And there's around 480,000 people that die every year. So if you do the math, that would make traditional combustible cigarettes 800,000 times deadlier than vaping at the time that I had gotten the information. So, and apparently there's now like 26 deaths linked to vaping, supposedly. But it's nowhere near what cigarettes are, or regular cigarettes are. Another thing that I wanted to add on to that is because I was over at a car dealership earlier today talking with just as I was leaving, I was talking with somebody who had a mod out that was vaping. We ended up getting onto the topic of, you know, the news and stuff. I brought up the fact, which he agreed with, that a lot of the kids or a lot of the younger people that you see in these news articles know that vaping is getting out there, and they want to try, and that vaping is trying to get banned across the country. So what they want to do is oftentimes fake an injury and blame it on vaping, and basically get you know, a hell of a lot of attention. So really, it's attention seeking. Now, can I, you know, say that a lot of the injuries themselves are not fake, but the causes are fake or misrepresented. Like the one kid who had a collapsed lung. I don't doubt that he had a collapsed lung. I do doubt the fact that it was from vaping, though. Another point that was brought up in the article as well is the fact that some people will say that they got sick from vaping THC, and some will say that they got sick just from vaping nicotine. I don't completely believe that, because I believe it's all linked to the THC, and some of them just don't want to, you know, own up to the fact that they've been vaping THC and black market vape cartridges, and, you know, put it out there as it is. So they want to just cover their asses. So yeah, it's pretty much all I have to say.
Yeah, I'm all for having regulation on pretty much everything, but it needs to be reasonable regulation. And this attempted fear mongering, I honestly kind of think that a lot of it is just big tobacco not wanting to lose its foothold that it's had for decades.
Years.
70, well, yeah. 70, 80 years.
Yeah, literally for decades, the tobacco industry has had this foothold, and they're losing it to something better, less lethal, and much like the oil and coal industry, they don't want to change. So,
yeah, this is not about protecting people. Don't kid yourselves. It's because if we were concerned about protecting people, we would be doing a lot more to help people quit cigarettes. I mean, yes, there are helps and aids out there to help you with that. And also focus on trying to not get people started in the first place, which we did have campaign ads, but I'm not sure that that's really far enough as far as trying to.
well,
But
Well, at the same time, you got to think about this too, because vaping has been around for about 10 years already. And in the beginning, people were saying, hey, go switch to vaping. It's, you know, it's been proven by, fuck, I just drew a blank on the college in England that said it, but they said that it was 95% better for you than smoking traditional cigarettes. So they were all saying back towards, you know, the beginning when vaping was first coming out, switch to vaping, you know, you'll save your life. And now that it's becoming popular and people are actually doing what they were told to do in the beginning, which is to get off of cigarettes and switch to vaping. Now the country and these states have a problem with it, whereas before they didn't.
Essentially, the problem is profiteering off of people's death and off of people's health.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I
Because
think
smoking may not necessarily kill you, but I doubt very seriously that even if it doesn't, when I say smoking, I mean smoking cigarettes. I doubt very, very seriously that you're actually a fully healthy person if you are doing so.
I'm gonna socialize it up, and I'm gonna point out that big tobacco companies lobbied to like help vaping because a big tobacco company doesn't own, but it owns a major share in the Juul company, like Juul, the company itself. The article that I shared like just now talks about the history of the recent moment in time in which big tobacco stepped in, helped fight against some of the policies and some of the bans that would have negatively affected Juul, the company, and now they own 35% of that company because of course they do. It's capitalism, y'all.
And I know people who hit Juuls. I'm not really a big fan of Juul.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I just don't like them, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, I think a big part of the problem is lobby money. I looked up I'm going to be a typical Ohio State Buckeye fan here. The governor from that vile state up north from where I live is a Democrat. I originally figured she was a Republican, but I was wrong. But Democrats are not equally as bought by lobbyist interests and corporations, but the ones they are bought for, they're big on. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if we looked at her campaign finance that she was being subsidized by anti-vaping lobbies, which are much larger thanks to the tobacco industry. And second of all, the tobacco industry actually has lobbies in its favor. Vape has not been around long enough. It's not big enough. It's not wealthy enough to really have any of those.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
yeah, you've got all these tobacco lobbies that are like, no, this is costing us money. Costing us money is bad. Fuck the free market when it doesn't help us, basically.
Yeah.
So
I mean, even
Luciano's pinko commie socialism, because socialism and communism are exactly the same thing.
Obviously.
In the minds of
but to add on to that, I mean, the vape ban that was enacted by Whitmer ended up costing, I believe, around 2,000 people their jobs that were working in the vaping industry. So, 2,000 people just to lose their jobs just in one state is not good. And Michigan is not the biggest state, but it's not anywhere near small. So, I mean, you got to think about people's jobs too.
Yeah. Any more comments on vaping? By the way, BBA did do a full video on vaping and how it's not actually as two. Okay. I'm sure you could link them in the chat, but you could also
unless Encyclopedia beats me to it.
I'll go onto your channel. Just give me 2 seconds.
Oh, shit, we lost BBA.
Oh no. That was really funny timing.
Accidentally, because I have a link straight to my YouTube studio, I hit it first instead of hitting new tab first, so that's why I dropped out.
I almost clicked on the wrong video. It was a good video. It just wasn't the right one. All right, I shared one of them just now, and then let me pull up the second. There it is. Okay, cool.
Oh, something kind of related to this topic that Lena just brought up is sometimes boycotting people hurts the very people they want to help.
Yep.
And something that just came to my mind was, I believe Kickstarter is having a fight over unionization right now. And a lot of people started off saying just like, oh, just stop using Kickstarter. And it was just like, but and the people who were trying to unionize were like, no. Wait until you hear from us. We're planning a day where, and we're coordinating with people who their jobs are on Kickstarter as an artist or like as somebody developing a game or what have you. They're like, we're trying to coordinate like an actual time frame where nobody starts anything. Like a couple of days, I think they said, where it's like nobody starts anything. We try to convince people to end their Kickstarters before that day. And basically it was like, if you stop using Kickstarter, you are now punishing people who rely on that to get their ideas out there and to get funding for them. So it can be complicated to just boycott. Sometimes it makes sense to just be like, I'm never going there again. And then sometimes you got to realize that there are people for whom if that platform didn't exist, they would not be able to create a livelihood, who have nothing to do with what the people who are running said platform are those decisions.
Yeah.
So
you need to be really careful with how you boycott. Now, this is not me saying I don't support boycotting. I absolutely.
I support boycotts too.
But you have to be careful about it because much like government sanctions on countries like Russia or Iran, it tends to hurt the people you intend to help rather than the people you want to hurt. Because the uber wealthy, the people in power, are going to do fine regardless. So you need to be smart about it. And Silver Lena hits the nail on the head in all caps. Nuance matters.
Yes, you need to put thought into it, Luciano.
I'm sorry, guys.
You can't just go running in like recklessly, like a wrecking ball, and take everything out. Just it doesn't work.
Thank you, Triateyal. Now I'm thinking of the Miley Cyrus song.
That is not my fault. Your brain works that way, okay? I am not responsible for your brain.
Your stream of consciousness. Yeah, this thing comes in like I came in like a.
I keep forgetting Miley Cyrus exists, to be honest.
Same. Unless you mention like hits of hers that even I've heard of. And Wrecking Ball is, yes, Luciano, Wrecking Orb. Way to go full alignment unknown. By the way, totally not advertising for an entirely different channel here. Open a new tab in your window and go to YouTube. Type in alignment unknown in the search bar. You will find Godless Cranium's other channel, which Luciano and I and Mel, are you in our one-shot campaigns now?
I think so, yes. I have to make my character because every time I've tried to make it with the online maker character generation thing, it makes me an NPC.
Yeah,
that's not going to work.
From being fans everywhere, just like hearing that, and they're about to go off.
I'm going to be a ranger. I've never played a ranger. I'm usually a half-elf thief. I'm going to be a half-elf ranger now.
Godless Cranium is trying to fit me in somewhere, so hopefully I'll be playing with y'all at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely head over to Alignment Unknown because we're going to spend.
It's already in the doobly-doo.
Yep, Luciano. So followed over. You're gonna you're gonna catch my arrogant shenanigans because my character is just slightly more arrogant than I am now.
Oh, goodness.
Oh no.
I'm there. I talk a lot, but I wasn't there last week, so
Thankfully.
It was the shortest episode, but only by 2 minutes. So
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we're doing one tomorrow, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't
So-
know. I
No.
still have to finish. I came up with my character name and everything, and I went through, did all my stats, and then it was just like went and tried to put it all together, and it said no, not for you.
I'm gonna ask in our little chat if we're playing tomorrow, but I'm like 90% sure we are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Y'all have fun. I'm gonna be catching up on sleep.
That's fair.
Sleep is for the weak.
Oh goodness.
Do we have one more story? I say, knowing that I'm like we do.
I haven't spoken about anything.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to not so subtly be like, we've been here for an hour and a few minutes. And
Okay. I'll be fast.
no, that's not what
you
I'm
don't
saying. I just wanted
No,
to
we
get
just
all
don't
our
want to
stories
like be like, we're heading out. Bye, Mel. Get some
Bye. It
stories.
was nice talking to everyone. I'll go talk to the wall.
Hey, I'm in control here, sort of. At least I control the end broadcast button. I control the end broadcast button. That's really all I've
I
done.
can
We
make you
are
go back to
playing
sleep,
tomorrow.
man.
Just so people know, we are playing tomorrow. So tomorrow night at this time, we'll be on another adventure.
Oh my god.
And Luciano will join us once again.
Oh Lord.
Having completely missed out on the previous adventure. But I'm sure we'll regale him with the tales of what we did last week with great exaggeration.
Obviously, that's the only way to do it to me.
I
Damn.
have a feeling I'll just be sitting there going, what the hell is going on?
You were in the adventure, though. I say, wink, wink.
Okay.
We're retconning history so that you were in the adventure.
Well, I mean, they're one shots. It doesn't. Shit, we could actually introduce Mel. Just, hey guys, you want to go kill shit? And we're all like, yes, let's kill the things.
Oh my goodness. Oh Lord.
But yes, Mel has a story which she, or a topic that she came up with just before the live stream. Literally.
Yeah, like literally 5 minutes before. So I thought I would talk, since it's Halloweeny season. Clowns. They were originally supposed to be scary, guys. Shocker. So you can check out the history of clowns. One of the article that I like a lot is on the Smithsonian website. And so I'll put that in the side chat there. And the title of this is The History and Psychology of Clowns Being Scary. Okay. I'm buffering. There I am. So, because at one point in time, they had mentioned how early on with clowns and the way that they painted their face, that was like supposed to be the crushed bones of children. So that's why they paint their face white, guys. Clowns have been like a scary thing for centuries. This isn't, and actually them being nice and funny is pretty kind of new. That wasn't what it was originally. So some examples of historically scary clowns. We start out with the earliest documented clowns go all the way back to around 2400 BCE in ancient Egypt. They appeared often in Greek and Roman societies, and they kind of evolved into court jesters. in the late Middle Ages. Now, they oftenly mocked sex and food and drink and the monarchy, and they all would behave with this maniacal type of laugh. So they were meant to be more like adult-oriented type of entertainment, but they were making fun of all of these things. So in about the early 1800s, you had Joseph Grimaldi. He was credited as inventing kind of like the modern clown of the time. And he performed a lot of physical comedy while he was wearing this white face and paint with red patches on his cheeks and these colorful costumes. And he was known for part of his act to be really depressed outside of his routine. Now, his first wife died in childbirth. His father was very, very much like a tyrant, and his son became an alcoholic clown who drank himself to death at 31, guys. Isn't that fun? That's fun. And then about the same time in France, Jean-Gaspard de Burroughs, Perrault, I don't know, I probably butchered that because I don't say things so great sometimes. So he had a character that had this white face with black eyebrows and these red lips. And he was kind of what was considered one of the first professional silent mimes. He was universally kind of loved in France. But in 1836, he killed a boy from hitting him with his cane because the boy taunted him. Though he was ultimately kind of acquitted, this is still like the killer clown image that we see, and that was stuck in the public conscious at the time. Then you have that Italian opera, Pagliacci, in 1872. Yeah. So his main character, Canio, I think, or Canio, I don't remember. Maybe it's Kanye. Maybe Kanye is our Pagliacci of our current time. A cuckolded clown. Cuckolded clown. He murdered his cheating wife on stage during the final act. And hey, that clown, he ain't so scary, is he? Goes around murdering his wife. So around 1876, that's where we kind of see the integral part of the big top circuses. Okay, so this clown's art is now kind of terrifying and full of anxiety and apprehension. They have these suicidal feats. They have these monstrous gesticulations and these frenzied mimicry, reminding one of the courtyard of a lunatic asylum. So when we see clowns behaving in a circus, they're meant to be people that have completely lost their minds, And then when we get to the late 19th century, we see a bit more of these three-ring circuses, these traveling hobo clowns, Weary Willie and all of that that were born around the time of the Great Depression. Then the 50s and 60s, we get Bozo, Ronald McDonald. So this loving, funny, silly type of clown thing is actually pretty new. Then when you consider John Wayne Gacy, what a great guy that one, right? In the 70s. He went by the name of Pogo, and he was arrested for sexually assaulting and killing more than 35 young men, And then he actually said, this is his quote, clowns can get away with murder. Yeah. Doesn't sound much unlike our current POTUS, grabbing women and stuff, but whatever.
Grab them by the pussy. If you're a star, you can do whatever you want.
Oh my God. If you're a clown, you can get away with murder, guys. And then, of course, we have It, written by Stephen King in 1986, was a TV miniseries in 1990 featuring Tim Curry, Pennywise. And since then, clowns have become more common horror trope that we see in Saw, Funny Man, Clown
Supernatural.
Supernatural, all of these things. So a lot of the psychology behind that is the fact that clowns, you can't see their true expressions on what their faces are. I hate clowns. I absolutely hate clowns. They're horrible. They freak me out. I don't go to the circus. I went one time to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios, and it was Scary Clown Night. We all know how that went. That was terrible.
It might freak everyone out, but when I was little, I used to unironically watch Bozo the Clown.
Oh my God.
And everyone wonders why horror movies aren't scary to me.
I was raised in Latin America. I have no idea what y'all are talking about.
Oh my God. They had.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I was little, I think my fear of clowns stemmed when I was little. My mother, when I was about 3, and I remember this, when I was about 3 or 4, she hired a clown to come to my birthday party.
Ooh.
Okay. And my grandmother was giving me toy clowns. You know, and Poltergeist, the film came out where the clown strangles the kid because, you know, that absolutely did not help my anxiety with clowns. So Bozo my mother, she ended up hiring who I thought was it was just like Krusty the Clown from The Simpsons. If you can think of that, he shows up to my mom's house, smokes a cigar in the living room, sits down, props his feet up onto the coffee table. He's like an hour late, and my mom's like, "You're late to the birthday party." He goes, "Look, bitch, I was just in a parade."
Oh, bitch. Oh my God.
It's just like, I'm 3, and there's a picture of me with this Krusty the Clown holding me with this picture. And then after that, it was just like, I was like crying. I was just like, this is horrible. I hate clowns so much. It's just, they're horrible. They're assholes, guys. They're mean to their friends. They hit them with mallets. They shove them into tiny cars and shoot them out of cannons. They squirt you in the face with water. They're like, "You're smelling flour." They're horrible. They're not nice to people at all. And then they paint their face so you think they're trying to be funny when they're really sitting here judging you silently. Like, I'm gonna use, I hate that. They're like the most backstabbing, two-faced human beings on the planet. Oh, clowns are fun. No, they're not. They're assholes.
I mean, the best
Sideshow Bob became a supervillain.
I like how last month Bob cut up all of our stuff into like little clips, and I'm just imagining the last part of Mel's clip just being her being like, "Hey, fuck clowns."
I mean, this is like 3 months ago, not last month, but yeah.
I mean, the best clown out there hits a beer keg and Slipknot. I'm just saying, that's the best clown out there.
That's a whole separate thing.
I like how I made an earlier reference to ICP, and then I just decided to be very explicit with the reference the second time I talked about them, and now we're talking about juggalos. We've gone full circle, guys.
I'm talking about Slipknot.
I don't care about juggalos. Juggalos suck. Okay, like I hate. More than anything, I hate to defend the Catholic Church, but immediately after that, I hate to defend Walmart.
I don't know if we're thinking of the same thing.
We're definitely not. But near where I live, in a town called Thornville, or it's either Thornville or Thorn something, near where I live, there's this event called Gathering of the Juggalos that happens every so often. And they came to the Walmart I worked at.
Oh no.
And theft fucking skyrocketed. And normally I'd be appreciative about what I'm gonna say in a second because I like the ladies, but there are specific contexts in which I like to like the ladies. But
you like lady juggalos? Is that what you're getting at?
Hell no. Especially not this one.
Do they carry Budweiser in their purses?
No.
Or is it Coors Light? I can't keep up with the juggalo ladies anymore.
for them it'd be urine, but
Hey, it could be pine beer.
Oh, God.
let's take pot shots at Maddie while they're not here. But no, so I was up at the front of the store, you know, grabbing some returns to put away, and this juggalette, as the female juggalos are called, reached up to grab something. I don't even remember what the fuck she reached up to grab, but literally all she was wearing was a t-shirt. So when she reached up, her shirt went up with everything else, and I saw her thing.
You saw juggalo boobies?
Huh?
You saw juggalo boobies?
No, I saw juggalette schmoo. I saw the lady piece.
Oh, so she had like a dress on and she reached up and
No, just a t-shirt.
Okay.
Just have a t-shirt. I mean, it would be one thing if she took care of herself, but no.
She didn't have any undies on.
No.
Okay. You were at a Walmart, so you realize you were running a risk of this happening.
Okay.
Talk about clowns going commando.
Where I live. Okay. I
People don't wear underwear at Walmart. Have you seen people of Walmart? There's a whole website just for these individuals.
You make them sound like an alien species.
There's a whole subreddit about people at Walmart.
Here's what I came to expect working at Walmart.
Oh,
I
you were
actually
working there. Okay. That's not your fault.
I live in the reddest county in Ohio in 2016. There was no more Trump supporting county in the state of Ohio than Licking. I'm not kidding. I wish I was. But I've come to expect seeing things like morbidly obese people using the scooters that are meant for actual physical disabled people, not people who eat at McDonald's for all 16 courses of their meals for that day. And apologies for anyone who actually has an obesity problem that is not caused by them.
Yeah, I was about to say, unless you know the person, it's really not good to judge because you never know. Somebody might not look like they're disabled and actually be disabled, or some people have issues that no matter what they eat, it doesn't matter, they're going to gain the weight.
Yeah, this was not the case for the vast majority of these people because I saw the groceries they would buy too. But and yes, that sounds very mean. But you know, like that's the kind of thing that I came to expect. You know, but when it comes to like any form of public nudity, that's absolutely not an okay thing. Yeah, not in the area that I live in. So that kind of was a culture shock to me. You know, but yeah, I'm sorry if that came across as mean. I'm looking at the chat, I see it. It's you know, but I mean that's what it kind of is. You know, but well, okay, done, Dennison. I'm sorry, but yeah, it's now I feel like a jerk, sort of. But
well, I think it's hard to know. That's one of those things you got to be careful walking the line on that. I have a friend of mine who weighed probably around 700 pounds, but he had been obese his entire life, even as a child. And it was just one of those things. He couldn't really control a lot of that. And he was on disability because he tried to lose weight and he didn't. And when he finally did lose weight, they took his disability away, but his knees are messed up and he can't actually work because of some of the damage on his knees. And so he's trying to get back his disability. So it's one of those things. you know, he had disability when he was overweight, like, you know, almost 700 pounds. But they're like, well, you lost this weight, go get a job. And he's like, I literally can't. My knees are gone. And he did try. And so it's like he couldn't. So it was like they won't give him disability now. So it's a touchy subject. It's kind of tough, you know.
I have a really bad knee. I'm also I think I'm morbidly obese. I'm almost 250 pounds. And I've been losing a lot of weight, ironically, because I've been having to do a lot of walking. But there are entire days where my knee just freezes up. And I do kind of worry that if I had to like get on those machines, the little cart thingies, I don't know if there's like a better word for it in English. There probably is. But like little mobile carts, I do worry that like people would judge me. But also I don't look as heavy as I am. So I'm just like kind of in like an awkward space. But that's the reason why I'm just like, I don't know about this, fam.
I mean, I got like that same space too, because like neither of my knees are any good. You know, I weigh more than I should. I'm actively trying to lose weight, and yes, I definitely understand that weight loss is not an easy thing. I went through 8.5 weeks of basic training, which is starvation and exercise to a fairly extreme point, and I didn't lose any weight. You know, I'm not trying to shame people that can't lose their weight, because I'm one of them.
But you don't. The thing is that the reason it comes off as judging everybody that way is because you're looking at that person and making assumptions about them, whether you really know them or not. I mean, it's one thing to go up to a friend and be like, hey, it's one thing if you know that person and you know that they're making shit decisions that they shouldn't be making and you're coming to them as a friend.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between looking at somebody and just assuming, because like even when I was doing really well, like when I was trying to lose weight, and I have my own struggles with it, I basically stress eat. So I'm fat. There's no getting around that. I could lose 80 pounds and then still lose a little bit more and then be in what's considered a healthy range for me. And I don't go by BMI. I go by what feels most comfortable for me. And like, I would go out and be like, okay, I did really good the past 3 weeks. I'm going to go out and get a burger and fries. And then people would be like, oh my God, look at the fat chick going out and getting burger and fries. I'm like, fuck you, I earned these. Like, I earned these. So
I'm
it's
considered
really
obese. I'm considered obese for my height and weight, but I wear like a medium large. And I could stand to lose like maybe 20, 30 pounds. And then I'll be in the BMI range. But anything over 20 pounds over what that range is considered obese. So I'm technically considered obese. And I can wear anywhere from a small to a freaking large. So it's just like.
Yeah. Well, that's why I said I don't go by BMI. I go by, I know what was comfortable for me, what made me look good. Because the BMI actually says about 30 pounds less than what I personally feel comfortable as.
On the low end of my BMI, I did at one point weigh like around 140. I looked sick. People thought I was ill. You know, and they're like,
I mean,
eat a burger. They were like, you need to eat, because you could see all of like my chest bones and stuff. So it's just like,
that's why I'm like, the BMI is a little bit, and also I've been told that, and I need to find the post again and share it, but somebody that I know said that the BMI was based completely on European aesthetics and values.
And it's for like people who are underweight. It was trying to get them up to a healthy weight. It's meant to be really for people who are underweight.
Yeah, and it's being used against people who genetically have bigger bone structures and genetically also have a little bit more fat based on their genetics as well.
I am all ass and tits. I'm not even gonna lie.
Like
I
wish
hate to
could take
say
some
it,
of the
but
ass
same.
and put I wish I could take some of the ass and make tits, but apparently that's not a thing. Like it would be just so
Nothing
beneficial.
fits me well. They're like, you're a figure 8. I'm like, I know. Good luck finding clothes. Just don't make them.
If you take off my shirt, it's a mess, guys.
It's like
it's
my
not fun.
waist is 13 inches smaller than my chest and hips, and my chest and hips are the same size. If I went just by measurements, I should wear a 2X on my chest, but then I would walk around wearing something that was huge on me because my waist is so much smaller. But then the sizes are dumb, man. I just wear spandex and leggings all the time. I can't be bothered otherwise. Spandex.
I used to get around to that kind of thing by having somebody do alterations for me.
Yeah.
Because basically I can go without alterations, but it looks really bad most of the time.
Yeah, I just wear stretchy things. I can, so I do. I just wear stretchy things all the time. It just works better because they don't. I forget jeans. My jeans don't fit me right anymore because it's you know that song you know that Derulo, what's his name? What are you gonna do with that? Yeah, wiggle wiggle. You tuck and you hop. That's how you get them in them jeans. You tuck and you hop. That's I don't have a pair of jeans that fit me great. I haven't because I've gained like 20 pounds, 30 pounds in the past 2 years. And I'm just like, I'm trying, but it's all in my butt and my chest. And it hadn't really hit my waist so much, which is nice. But God, good luck finding clothes. They don't make clothes for people like me.
Like with me, I'm 6'1" and maybe 140 pounds.
Ooh.
So I'm like skinny as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I did not know you were that tall until today. So
yeah, I'm 6'1".
I am 5'2.5", 5'3", somewhere around there, and currently I weigh about 100. No, hold on, 215 pounds. So yeah, that's why I was like, I could stand to lose quite a bit of weight. The problem is that I stress eat, and when I get upset enough, I don't give a damn what I'm eating. Like it's pure apathy. It's just like, oh, that looks good, even though it's like an entire bag of M&Ms. And then I care afterwards. Like I just honestly, it's just like it's a complete apathy mode. I don't care enough to stop myself from eating whatever is in front of me.
I mean, I would like to gain weight, but I have like stupidly high metabolism, so it's very hard for me to gain weight.
See, I wish I had that problem. I smell cookies, and then my
metabolism dropped out pretty early in my 20s. So, like, clearly from what everyone's saying, I'm in the wrong here, and I really am sorry about that. But I mean, there really is no excuse for that, and I am sorry. I shouldn't have made that judgment on people based on appearance, but
we live and learn. It's okay, man.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is
we need. Yeah, it's something that our society does that I think it takes a long time sometimes to unpack and get out of the habit of doing that.
Yeah. But at least I'm willing to learn. I want to be on the right side of history. And right here, you showed me that I'm wrong. And I'm certain I'm going to learn from it. Hopefully I do, and taking it forward. But, just to make that judgment call before the entire conversation is done, don't get me wrong. I don't blame Dun Dennison for saying, fuck you, I'm unsubbing. That absolutely they're right, because I was wrong for the portion of the conversation that we're here for.
I'll say, but that's where, having people, this is where I kind of have my talk about, you know, I talked about this a bit when I did my last Worldacity with Doc. I'm like, where's your tribe for the people that just say stupid things on the internet? And their friends are like, oh, honey, hold on. It's like the people that go on the internet with their clothes inside out and they hang their butt out the window and they smell like cheese. Where's their tribe going, honey? Oh, no, go back in the house. We have to talk. Take a shower, brush your teeth. Because there's people all over the internet. I'm like, oh, and then you have the other people that pretend to be their friends, like, hang your butt out the window. It's great. And you're like, yeah, it's like they pretend to be their friends. And you're like, no.
I choose my friends extremely carefully. I choose the ones because I do get defensive if I get corrected, especially if it's in a public place. I do get a little bit defensive for like maybe about 10 minutes. And then I'm just like, oh wait, hold on. They're coming from a place of making me a better person because they know what I'm capable of. They want better out of me. And I tend to keep my friends, a lot of friends like that, because I'm an idiot. I can do all kinds of crappy things. I'd rather have somebody pull me to the side and be like, hey, don't do this again, than just sit back and watch me continue to do crappy things.
No. See, that's okay. That's what your friends are supposed to do. They're supposed to be like, hey,
I mean, hey, nobody is above correction.
No, not at all.
No.
Every one of you, as far as I know, are, pretty choosy about their friends. And I hope we all stay friends after, my very apparent screw up here.
I hate you now. Don't ever talk to me again. I'm gonna storm off and be mad.
Don't talk to me or my demon prince ever again.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I'm gonna subtweet about you for 3 weeks. That person whose show I was on, I'm not naming their name. You made me so mad. I'm gonna be passive aggressive for 3 weeks and just subtweet about it. Because
I am destroyed.
That's what Twitter is for, right?
That's exactly what Twitter is for, guys. The whole point of this is so we can get on each other's show and build up the chisme.
But no, seriously, I for anyone I actually did offend, yes, I am very sorry for that. I should have been smarter, and to probably more importantly correct, which I was not. So yeah, I am sorry about that. And clearly for some people that's coming too late. But
that's okay.
Yeah. The point is that you learn. And I try to be one of those people that learns. This is another educational opportunity. So don't be the same shithead I was. Yeah.
Well, and also I think it's a good point to bring up too. Everybody has their limits of what they can and cannot handle, and there is no shame or guilt to be had in walking away from a situation. If you are not up to educating somebody, or if you are not feeling safe in that space, it is okay to back out. There is nothing wrong with that.
All the time on the internet. Debate me for this. No.
And that's part of why I don't blame Dunn Dennison for leaving. Apparently, I hit their limit, and they were like, no, I can't do this. That's fine.
That's okay.
I have nothing against that. I have limits that, I hit, and I just can't do more. Sorry, not sorry about having limits and being human. So, Dunn Dennison, if you come back, I am sorry.
Well, see, there you go. That's all. Everything's fine.
Apologies are cool, and not enough people realize that.
Yeah. Apologies are a good thing. And if you're going to actually apologize, say I'm sorry, not apologies.
Yes. You say, I'm sorry. This is what I did. That was wrong. And this is what I'm going to do in the future to make it better.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because if you
fine.
say apologies, it's a non-apology apology, and it doesn't actually count.
I'm sorry your feelings were hurt.
Oh, that's definitely a
I've
non-apology
written
apology.
several
Oh.
articles on apologies.
I'm sorry you
Oh.
cried
Maybe it's
about this.
non-apology.
This is my limit, guys. I've
Well, see,
written
I think something that plays into it is like when you hurt somebody, you are supposed to apologize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is that there's such a focus on you hurt that person, so you're going to apologize whether you feel it or not, which you still should. But I think that we don't focus enough with kids as to why they should be apologizing,
Yeah.
what the harm was caused, and also that the other person has absolutely no obligation to be like, I'm cool with what you did. Let's just move on.
Yeah.
Those things are not in focus, and it causes a lot of problems. That is something I'm having to unlearn, is just saying I'm sorry doesn't mean I should be automatically forgiven for the bullshit that I did. That is something that I'm basically having to unpack decades of. If they say they're sorry, you're just supposed to accept it.
Yeah. No. You don't have to accept an apology, and I don't expect anyone to expect the apology I made. Yeah, it's all a learning experience.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
I mean, we make mistakes and we learn from them. I actually
Okay.
have a master's in chemistry, and I misspoke when I was giving a talk about molecular orbitals. I'm like, oh crap. Lone pairs are in anti-bonding orbitals. Look at that, guys. I was wrong. I misspoke. Here we go. It's right there. And they're like, okay.
Yeah, like with me, like one of my biggest personality traits that I've had my entire life is that, it's something I'm trying to, start to try to get away from, but like for my entire life, I have been known to be quite brutally honest. And sometimes brutally honest to the extreme. So I try to steer away from that, like especially in my videos. But if I get too heated on something, I will let loose on somebody.
Yeah. I try to not do I stay pretty cool headed for the most part. But I don't do like a lot of online debates and stuff like that because unless
No, I'm not talking about online debates. I'm talking about like reaction videos.
Oh, reaction videos. Yeah, I don't do reaction videos really, but if I'm debating somebody, if I haven't had almost an entire bottle of wine, my fuse is really short. So just like particularly if it's somebody who is like, hey, vitamin B, whatever, cures cancer. Like, yeah, no, it doesn't. Okay, so we're dealing with one of those people. Just like, no.
Yeah, I am not level-headed at all. So I tend to, in the moment, not be able to process at all and then have to come back. And some people can't handle that, and I completely understand.
Yeah.
But I'm not level-headed at all. I am kind of hot-headed. I tend to try to balance that out with a little bit of thinking. I'm not completely impulsive, but a lot of times in the moment, I don't handle things correctly and have to go back and then try to correct those situations.
Man, gosh, I have to go soon because Jackson Weed and I are going to talk about him maybe taking a portion of my website so he can post some of his articles.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I probably should head out soon too because I've got to go to the other side of town really quick, and I have to be up tomorrow because things.
I have a show to do tomorrow. I don't know what I'm talking about because I haven't done like a proper show in a couple weekends.
No, you're doing it again.
There's actually a whole bunch of us here have a show tomorrow too, and it's the same show. So remember to subscribe to Alignment Unknown.
Well, that's tomorrow evening, but I have
That's true.
Tomorrow morning, and I haven't had a show in 2 weekends because I was in the Netherlands a few weeks ago visiting Doc Savage. That was fun. He has no furniture in his house. So he sat on the floor.
That's why he sits on the floor.
I'm actually probably going to do something tomorrow, too. I'm probably going to try to do an asexuality stream because it's been literally months.
I have had more asexuality streams in 1 week than you have in months.
I was doing so good at asexuality o'clock live streams, and then I move, and all of a sudden, I move and Google Hangouts gets the axe. And all of a sudden, it's like the hardest thing in the world for me to do live streams.
Oh, God. Yeah.
If you want a good intermediary, do StreamYard while you learn how to do something like OBS.
I know how to do OBS in the same way that I know how to drive, which means that I can technically do it, but you really shouldn't trust me to. I'm a 24-year-old who doesn't drive because I'm afraid of cars.
Luciano, I can drive, but I refuse to unless it is an emergency.
Same.
I can drive. Like, if you need to go to the hospital, I will drive to your ass to the hospital, get you checked in, make sure you're all right, and then head to the bathroom and throw up.
My partner very understandably roasts me over my inability to drive comfortably. I'm just afraid of cars. Okay. So,
but to be fair, if I get out of the city I live in and I'm on like a road where there's some cars but not nearly as much traffic, I can actually handle it. Now, you also have to keep in mind, Walmart is 5 minutes away from me, and in the time that we get in the car and go to Walmart, at least 3 people try to defy the law of physics and try to occupy the same space as our car.
Do you live in the city in GTA 5 by any chance?
It feels like it. It really does.
Oh,
check Jacksonville, Florida. It's normally.
Oh no! It's the town from The Good Place.
Oh, God.
Oh no!
Like, every year we're like 6 or 7 on the worst cities to drive in. I get out of Jacksonville, I'm fine, but in Jacksonville, I'm like, no. No.
You mentioned that you lived in Florida before, but I don't know if I've ever heard you mention Jacksonville specifically. So I was like, oof, like that hurts.
See, I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I love driving.
I that's good because like low key, the fact that I don't have my license has managed to fuck me over so spectacularly in like every way imaginable. The fact that I have my military dependence ID is like life-saving. And mine's still good because I'm a college student.
Okay.
Yeah,
I could see your face. And, like, I'm a military kid. I know.
I miss having that. I really do.
Are you also an army or military kid?
Military
nice.
Yeah, military brat. There were so many benefits to being a dependent. I miss it.
The fact that I'm in graduate school lets me have health insurance, which I pay for. Like I pay for my TRICARE stuff, but like I have health insurance through the VA, sort of, not quite through the VA. Through like TRICARE. And also I can go on post still. I did have a permit for 1.5 years, but mine expired in June. So
I just keep renewing my my learner's permit over and over and over again. And every time I'm like, the deadline's coming up, I should learn to drive. And like I said, I do know how to drive. It's just there are certain aspects of city driving where I'm just like, no.
I have it worse.
Out on the road with these people.
I have it worse because I'm scared of turning. If you put me on a straight highway, I'm fine. Like, if you put me on a straight highway, I can be like, yeah, this is fine. What really gets me is turning.
Highways fucking scare me around here because you've always got some asshole who's trying to get on the highway at 30 miles per hour.
Yes.
Every fucking time.
Yes.
And I'm just like, why? And people will be like, why are you so scared to drive in Jacksonville? I'm like, do you live here? Like,
like me, I don't care what the speed limit is. I'm gonna merge on the highway at 70 no matter what the speed limit is.
Well, I have a lot of appreciation for that. It's the ones going 30 miles an hour. It's like, are you going to move fast enough?
Because 80.
Oh goodness.
Because usually 85 is anywhere between 60 and 65 miles an hour.
Okay.
So
North Carolina,
I'll usually merge onto 85 at about 65 to 70. Just because I hate those kinds of people that do that.
Oh, and also I do not cross the street down near my house because people always run the red light. Oh, and so I'm just like, I will walk down another block and then cross there and then come back. Just so I don't have to be at that intersection.
Oh my goodness.
And y'all think I'm exaggerating. No, I'm not.
I was raised in Honduras. I know that you are not exaggerating.
I've heard Florida driver stories. I don't think you're exaggerating.
Well, I have to run because I have to make a character for tomorrow.
It looks like Zal's just going to try to pre-generate yours. So.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I'm in the chat. I'm in the chat right now. I'm
like,
hopefully Zal hooks you up with something you can use.
They already have the stats. They're just gonna try to see if they can like plug it in manually, like I did for my character.
Okay. Did somebody save the stats?
I would assume. Oh no, did they not save the stats?
I don't know.
Mel's usually
good. No.
Whatever. It's fine.
I mean, who knows? Maybe you'll just have a really short-lived Elven Ranger. Half Elven, even shorter-lived.
Racist.
And I had already picked out all of the languages that they speak, and oh my God, I'm not about to just have somebody else here. I'm just going to randomly. No.
That's not what they're going to do. GC is going to redefine the term Half-Life.
Oh. I'm going to roll right now. I have my light up D20. I'm going to roll initiative right now. Yeah, I got 18. So that sucks.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna roll my dice.
Oh man,
I have
100. Hey, let me find them real quick. I have Ace Pride dice.
Nice. That is what's up. But I'm also gonna get going because I'm gonna. I have to go write an article for tonight. Got to do the news.
Right.
Okay.
This is probably a good time to close the live stream anyway. So. Yeah, thank you to all my panelists for coming on and talking about the different articles, stories, highlights, and all that you had to talk about. I think the most interesting has to be Mel, who talked about clowns.
Pull that one right out of my hat.
Was it a sorting hat?
It's a sorting hat for, Slytherin. Wait, no, other side.
But you will be able to find links to all of my wonderful panelists down in the description below. If you haven't, for whatever reason, head over to their channels and give them a subscribe. Their Twitters are also in the links. So, and a couple of them have sent me Patreons. So support them on Patreon. That would be pretty awesome.
Please.
Hello, yes, I could use money.
that's going to do it for this one. I appreciate everyone that stuck around. I really do. And I will see you all actually Monday because I have a video coming out. So
Awesome.
I'll see you all then.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.